DJI has spent years building a solid identity in the action camera space, and its approach has always been more about steady refinement than radical reinvention. Each generation tends to improve the experience in practical, real-world ways: better stabilization, stronger image processing, improved durability, and more efficient battery management rather than completely rewriting what the device is. Now that the DJI Osmo Action 6 is officially available, the attention of creators, reviewers, and enthusiasts has already started shifting toward what comes next. Naturally, that brings the spotlight to the DJI Osmo Action 7, a camera that is still unannounced but already generating conversation thanks to predictable release patterns and early speculation circulating in the industry. Looking at DJI's historical behavior provides the clearest starting point for understanding what the DJI Osmo Action 7 might look like and when it could arrive. DJI has generally maintained a fairly structured product cycle for its action camera lineup. In most cases, the company introduces a new model roughly once a year, often landing announcements in the late third quarter or early fourth quarter. Even when certain models experience slight delays or extended development cycles, the overall rhythm remains consistent. This pattern creates a strong foundation for predicting future releases, and based on that established cycle, it becomes reasonable to expect that the DJI Osmo Action 7 would follow a similar timeline. If DJI continues this trend without major disruption, the most likely launch window for the DJI Osmo Action 7 would fall toward the end of 2026. Industry patterns suggest a release period between October and November, which aligns with DJI's typical strategy of positioning new consumer devices ahead of the holiday season. This timing also allows the company to maximize visibility and sales momentum during one of the most active purchasing periods of the year. Before any official announcement, DJI usually begins laying the groundwork through certification filings, regulatory documentation, and subtle pre-launch hints, followed by a more structured teaser campaign. If everything proceeds according to historical behavior and there are no external delays such as supply chain constraints or regulatory friction, a late 2026 reveal remains the most plausible scenario for the DJI Osmo Action 7. While release timing is often the easiest aspect to estimate based on past behavior, pricing tends to follow a similarly stable pattern. DJI has built a reputation for maintaining relatively consistent pricing across generations of its action cameras. Even when new features are introduced or internal hardware is upgraded, the company rarely makes dramatic price jumps. Instead, it focuses on incremental adjustments that keep the product accessible while still reflecting added value. For the DJI Osmo Action 7, expectations point toward a pricing structure that remains close to its predecessor. The standard version of the DJI Osmo Action 7 is expected to land somewhere in the mid-range action camera segment, likely within a range that translates roughly to the equivalent of around $350 to $430 depending on configuration and regional pricing variations. Meanwhile, bundled packages that include additional mounts, batteries, or adventure-focused accessories could push closer to the $500 mark. This pricing strategy would allow DJI to maintain its competitive position in the market while still offering enough differentiation between base and premium kits to appeal to both casual users and more serious content creators. The goal is not to reinvent the pricing model, but to preserve accessibility while subtly reflecting ongoing improvements in performance and usability. Moving beyond timing and pricing, the most interesting part of any new generation is always the internal evolution of the camera itself. Based on current expectations and DJI's development history, the DJI Osmo Action 7 is unlikely to introduce a completely new sensor format. Instead, it will probably continue using a sensor size similar to the one found in the Action 6, while focusing on improvements in processing power, image tuning, and software optimization. This approach is consistent with DJI's philosophy of maximizing the performance of existing hardware through computational enhancements rather than relying solely on hardware jumps. Even with a similar sensor structure, meaningful improvements are still expected in real-world image quality. One of the most anticipated upgrades involves low light performance. Action cameras traditionally struggle in darker environments due to their compact sensor sizes and wide-angle optics, but each generation has gradually improved noise handling and detail retention. For the DJI Osmo Action 7, the expectation is that footage captured in challenging lighting conditions will appear cleaner, with reduced grain and improved color accuracy. Dynamic range is also likely to see refinement, allowing highlights and shadows to retain more detail in high-contrast scenes. These changes may not be revolutionary on paper, but they can significantly improve usability in everyday shooting situations. Video performance is also expected to evolve in a more subtle but meaningful way. Rather than introducing extreme resolution jumps, the DJI Osmo Action 7 will likely focus on stabilizing performance across different recording modes. This means more consistent frame rates, better thermal stability during extended recording sessions, and smoother transitions between different resolution settings. The emphasis is expected to remain on reliability and usability, ensuring that creators can capture footage without worrying about overheating, dropped frames, or inconsistent output behavior. Stabilization has always been one of DJI's strongest selling points, and it is almost certain that the DJI Osmo Action 7 will continue to refine this area. DJI's electronic stabilization systems are already among the best in the industry, but there is still room for improvement in terms of horizon leveling accuracy, motion smoothing, and responsiveness during unpredictable movement. The next generation may introduce smarter stabilization algorithms that better interpret movement patterns in real time, resulting in footage that feels even more natural and less mechanically corrected. This is especially important for fast-paced action scenarios such as biking, skiing, or handheld vlogging where sudden movements are common. For now, the DJI Osmo Action 7 remains one of the most anticipated upcoming action cameras in the pipeline, not because it is expected to revolutionize the category, but because it is expected to refine it further. And in a market where small improvements can make a big difference in real-world shooting experience, that alone is enough to keep creators and enthusiasts paying close attention.